And when it was not Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there was no fish. So they resisted this temptation in the beginning to catch fish on Saturday, because it was a clear violation of their religion. They could not do that. So some of them got together and they came up with an idea, or some ideas. One of those ideas was to make some fishing ponds near their homes or away from the sea. And the way they designed those ponds, the water would come in on Saturday, and when the water would come in on Saturday, the fish would automatically come in with that water. And once that pond was filled with water, they would close the entrance. That means the water that has already come in would not be allowed to go back into the sea. So any fish that has already come into the pond, that would be their fishing for tomorrow. They would catch it tomorrow and then sell, eat, whatever. So they came up with this idea and they started doing that. Some of them who were not really industrial fishermen, what they would do, because they needed to eat fish as well, so fish would only come on Saturday. It wouldn't come on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or any other day. It would only come on Saturday. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَيَوْمَ لَا يَسْبِتُونَ لَا تَأْتِيهِمْ. When it was not Saturday, no fish would show up. The fish would go far away into the sea or deep into the water. And that means you cannot fish. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was making that happen. So some of those people who were not really industrial fishermen, what they would do, they would come by the water on Saturday, they would catch the fish, and they would put some thread into the tail of the fish, and then drop the fish back into the water, but hold that thread. So Sunday, they would pull the fish out with that thread, or with the small rope. So this is the other trick that they were doing. So they were in reality playing with the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The whole idea was not to play with the command of Allah and respect the rules of Sabbath. So they went around. They did not violate the command openly, but they went around and figured out the back door of violation, which would appear justified to them. So they would say to each other that we're not fishing on Saturday, we're just bringing the fish into our pond, or we're just putting a thread into the tail, but we're catching the fish on Sunday, we're not catching them on Saturday. So they would justify this action, and they would not consider it a violation of the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did consider that a violation of the matter of Sabbath. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِذْ يَعْدُونَ فِي السَّبْتِ, when they were transgressing in the matters of Sabbath, إِذْ تَأْتِيهِمْ حِيتَانُهُمْ يَوْمَ سَبْتِهِمْ شُرَّعًا, when their fish would come to them on Saturday in large number. وَيَوْمَ لَا يَسْبِتُونَ لَا تَأْتِيهِمْ, and when it was not Saturday, no fish would come to them. كَذَلِكَ نَبْلُوهُمْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْسُقُونَ. This is how we tested these people who were defiantly disobedient. وَإِذْ قَالَتْ أُمَّةٌ مِّنْهُمْ لِمَ تَعِظُونَ قَوْمًا اللَّهُ مُهْلِكُهُمْ أَوْ مُعَذِّبُهُمْ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا. So now, as these people began to violate the matter of Sabbath, the instruction of Sabbath, there were righteous people in that town, scholars, rabbis, or pious servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they openly challenged them. They started giving them warnings, and they started coming to them and saying, why are you doing this? Why are you disobeying Allah? Why are you transgressing? And there was one group that said to them, وَإِذْ قَالَتْ أُمَّةٌ مِّنْهُمْ, and when one group among them said to those who were giving warnings and teaching lesson to these violators, they said to them, why do you advise these people that Allah is going to destroy or punish severely? Because these people are clearly guilty of violation of the command of Allah, and they will eventually be punished or destroyed. So they said to those people, this group said to the group of scholars or the righteous people, that why are you even wasting your time in telling them, instructing them? Leave them alone, they will eventually be destroyed and punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these scholars or these righteous servants of Allah who were giving nasiha, who were giving exhortation to them, they would reply in these words, قَالُوا مَعْذِرَةً إِلَىٰ رَبِّكُمْ. We are only giving them warnings so we could be absolved before your Lord. We could present an excuse before your Lord that, well, Allah, we did warn them, but they did not listen. مَعْذِرَةً إِلَىٰ رَبِّكُمْ. Ma'dira is a word in Urdu as well. Ma'dira meaning, as an excuse, we will present this excuse to Allah when Allah will question us on the day of judgment. Why didn't you tell them? Why didn't you stop them or warn them? We will say to Allah, oh Allah, we went to them, we explained to them, we tried to stop them, but they did not. So it is an excuse to Allah on the day of judgment. وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَّقُونَ. And maybe some of them will fear Allah, some of them will stop the violation. فَلَمَّا نَسُوا مَا ذُكِّرُوا بِهِ. So when they forgot the remindings that had been given to them, أَنْجَيْنَا الَّذِينَ يَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ السُّوءِ. We saved those who had forbidden evil. So these people who were giving lessons and warnings, Allah said, we saved them. We did not allow them to be punished or destroyed. We saved those people, الَّذِينَ يَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ السُّوءِ, who used to forbid from evil. وَأَخَذْنَا الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا بِعَذَابٍ بَئِيسٍ بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْسُقُونَ. And we seized those who did wrong with a severe torment because they used to rebel and disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they were punished severely. How were they punished? This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains in the next verse. It was a severe punishment. فَلَمَّا عَتَوْا عَمَّا نُهُوا عَنْهُ قُلْنَا لَهُمْ كُونُوا قِرَدَةً خَاسِئِينَ. So when they were insolent about that which they had been forbidden, we said to them, be apes, despised and rejected. So when those people who did not stop from violating the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them and they were turned into apes, according to this ayah of the Quran. And these words, قُلْنَا لَهُمْ كُونُوا قِرَدَةً خَاسِئِينَ, are exactly same what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَقَدْ عَلِمْتُمُ الَّذِينَ اعْتَدَوْا مِنْكُمْ فِي السَّبْتِ فَقُلْنَا لَهُمْ كُونُوا قِرَدَةً خَاسِئِينَ. قُلْنَا لَهُمْ كُونُوا قِرَدَةً خَاسِئِينَ is exactly same as it is over here. And it was in Surah Al-Baqarah. So these people were commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He wanted to punish them, He sent a command to them, be apes, become apes. And they did. They immediately turned into apes. So what happened before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them and turned them into apes as a punishment? Before that, the good people, the righteous people, the scholars, the rabbis who were observing the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when they had enough of their warnings, when they had enough of their teachings given to these people, they said, if you are not going to listen to us, then we will create a separation between you and us. We will not live with you, we will not talk to you, we will not sit with you, we will not eat with you, and we will have a divider in this town. We will live on one side of the divider, and you will live on the other side of the divider. And that's exactly what they did. They created a partition in the city. So those people who did observe Sabbath, they were living on one side of the city, and those who did not, they were living on the other side of the city. So one day, they woke up in the morning, and they would hear every day that when they would wake up, they would hear the screams, the sounds, the shouting, and all of those things from the other side. One day they woke up and they did not hear any sound from the other side. And they became curious. They were like, what's going on? Where's everybody on that side? We don't hear a single sound. So they went on the other side and they saw that all of those people are turned into apes. There are no humans anymore. And they immediately, because there were no apes before in that city, they immediately realized that Allah punished them by turning them into apes. And these apes, they obviously you cannot identify one ape from the other, but the apes could tell and identify these people that they knew before, the humans. So they would come to them, they would smell their clothes, and then they would have tears in their eyes. And according to one report, these people, they would say to them, didn't we stop you from violating the commands of Allah? And they would shake their head and say, yes, you did. And according to another ayah of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not turn all of them into apes. Some of them were turned into apes and some of them turned into pigs. Al-qiradata wal-khanazir. So according to scholars, the young ones were turned into apes and the elderly ones were turned into pigs. So in that town, there were apes and pigs. Now, these apes and pigs are not the ancestors of apes and pigs of modern day. Some people did question that when these ayat were revealed, or when Rasulullah explained this as well. So some Sahaba did ask that, Ya Rasulullah, these apes that we see today and these pigs, so these are the descendants of those apes and pigs? Rasulullah said no. When Allah punishes a nation, He does not allow them to reproduce or to survive. They eventually die out and vanish completely from the surface of this earth. So all these people who were turned into apes and pigs, they died after 3 days. For 3 days, this was a show of how Allah humiliates those people who violate His command. So for 3 days, they lived the life of apes and pigs, and after 3 days, they all died. So a lesson was delivered in that you should not violate the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you should not even try to go around and try to find a back door to commit the same violation. You can violate the command of Allah in 2 ways, in open and clear terms and in hidden terms. These people, they found a back door and they were doing the same thing, but in that stealth way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be fooled. You cannot fool Allah. Allah knew why they were doing it and what was in their heart, so Allah punished them for their wrongdoing. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Any questions?
When you were reciting the ayat, you said, say, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, is this any conversation going on with someone?
No, in this ayah, وَاسْأَلْهُمْ عَنِ الْقَرْيَةِ الَّتِي كَانَتْ حَاضِرَةَ الْبَحْرِ. So this ayah was directly addressing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to ask Jews in Medina, that ask them the story of those people who lived by the sea. Jews knew that story. It was not something new to the Jews in Medina. Jews of Medina knew that story. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed these verses, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to remind the Jews in Medina that know that when those people rebelled against Allah and disobeyed, they were punished. So it was a question to be asked from the people in Medina. Yes?
When you said that they were recognizable, did you mean that the apes could recognize the people, or the people could recognize the apes?
No, the apes could recognize the people. People could not recognize the apes because all the apes looked alike. But apes could recognize the people that they knew before.
The city of by the sea, is it Gaza or
Allahu A'lam. It could be Gaza, it could be another city by that same sea line. You know, there's a long sea line over there. So it could be any place in that area, but it is somewhere in that area. Because Dawood alayhi salam's kingdom, it extended to all those areas.
Did anything happen to the third group of the people who are saying don't say?
We don't know. We don't know from the ayat of the Quran what happened to those people who remained silent or who were telling the scholars or the righteous people, why are you even warning them? We don't know what happened to them. Subhanallah. اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ورسولك اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد أفضل صلواتك اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين اللهم استر عوراتنا وأمن روعاتنا اللهم احفظنا من بين أيدينا ومن خلفنا وعن يميننا وعن شمالنا ومن فوقنا وأن نغتال من تحتنا ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين جزاك الله